Previously on Talk That Talk.
Smarter than hackers, right? So we joke about it all the time. Going to State Fair Classic, you got people screaming your name. People with.
Can y'all hear me clearly?
Oh yeah, we got you.
Okay. I think it depends on where you are in your journey. I stopped marching before I graduated. I marched 06, 07, and 08. Um, and I was there one more year. But I knew my journey was done. I almost didn't march 08 because the Legion had started to change. And, I was just interested in moving on and doing some different things. And so in 08, I knew that was it. I said after I came back, after, I almost wasn't there, and said, this is it for me. And I was okay with that because that part of my life was over. I had done kind of what I had wanted to do. It actually happened faster than I expected. I went from rookie to section leader, and I was section leader for 2 years. And, I had, kind of stamped the LaPortia Dortch era of the Silkettes. And I was ready to go ahead and do something else and give somebody else a turn. I didn't want to be section leader 3 years, and Doc would have been okay with that. But I was ready to move on. So it didn't contribute to anything, but I did take those tools that I learned in the program into my journey to becoming a Zeta, and once I got out into the real world. But I guess it would be a different story if your journey ended and you weren't ready for it to end. Or I had a transition period from being in the Legion to '09. I was just in school and was traveling and did all kinds of stuff. So I guess I didn't have to transition from being in the Legion or being in band to being out of Norfolk State at the same time. I did them at separate times so that, it wasn't rough for me. I was okay with the decision not to come back. It was mine and mine alone, and I knew it was time for me to do other things. So it didn't, I guess it can for some, but that just wasn't my story. I was ready to be done. I was done. I enjoyed the mess out of fall '09 because spring 10 was a little bit different. But yeah, fall '09, I went to every battle, game, saw other schools. I did a lot of stuff. Was up and down the road. I don't know how I was broke, but I guess it depends on where you are in your journey. If you're ready to leave, not so much. But if you aren't ready to leave or it's a lot of transition at one time, I can see how that can be difficult.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that you were lucky because I was ready to leave. Doc wouldn't let me leave, and I still, Norfolk State is high as hell when it comes
Yeah,
to that dang tuition. So I had to come back an extra year, and that was
yeah.
my most rebellious year because I didn't want to be there. I knew I was done.
And
Uh,
see, I knew how I would have been. And he was like, well, can you just come back and just be in the section? I said, man, either I'm the head of this or I ain't in this. I don't know how people do that. I think it's admirable. But either I'm the HNIC or I ain't in it.
Well, thank
And
you
I
for letting me know I was admirable because I said I didn't want to be. I was assistant in '04. I was section leader in '05. I didn't want no more parts of it. I was done. And he said, "Come on back." I said, "Look, I'm gonna cut you a deal. I come to practice on Tuesday and Thursday in the game. That's as much as I'm gonna give you." And he honored that. I was like, "I bet." So, but I mean, like
yeah.
you got lucky. You was like, I'm done. I'm done. I still had to march, but that was my Honda year too. So,
Yeah, yeah. I just and I mean the girls begged me to come back. He called me the first day of band camp. Now Posha is because he called me Posha. Posha, is you serious? You really not gonna show up today? Dr. Sanford, I'm in my bed. I'm not coming. You first of all, you've already picked section leaders and I ain't one of them. So what we doing? You sure? Yes, sir. I'm sure. So, I just was ready to be done, and I had the luxury of saying that I was done. And it just worked out that I was able to transition out of that. I had a blast. I don't know if I really had a chance to think about it because we did so much traveling and road running. Aaron and I did. But yeah, I don't. I guess the experience made me better at life, but I didn't have to transition all out of it all at one time because I was still at Norfolk State another year before after I left the Legion. So to me, it would depend on where you are in your journey, and my journey had ended. So yeah.
Okay. Um, and this is just kind of piggybacking off of this question here, and anybody can go for it. Is graduating a culture shock? Like, is it is and I don't know how everybody experienced graduation, but I'm just saying in general, not band related, just graduating in general. Is it like a culture shock? Kind of similar to what Maya was saying. It's like Maya was like top dog, and she had people putting her face on people's shirts, and she was top dog, and then she comes out and then she's the little fish in the big pond again. Is it a culture shock to really navigate life in general just after graduating?
I
Anybody can.
so
Oh,
I
go ahead.
think so. HBCUs are kind of their own little bubble,
Right.
and it's comfortable, and it's what you know, and you've been there for 4 or 5 years, and so then you have to start over in some way, shape, or form. And then the other thing is that 9 times.
You went out, Portia.
Dang, we missed her. Smiths.
It just switched over to my own Wi-Fi because I backed up to the garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. It was for me. I can't speak for anybody else. I was like, oh Lord, like leaving the Legion didn't mess me up, but what I'm getting ready to do now, and my parents were wanting me to come back to Richmond, and I didn't really want to go back to Richmond, so yeah, it was a culture shock for me. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be, and I just had to figure all of that out really, really fast.
Okay. Maya, what were you gonna say?
I agree with everything Portia said for sure. But to add to that, a little bit more. How would I describe that? I guess my culture shock. Well, it wasn't really shock, but my culture shock was truly the true definition of culture shock. You know what I'm saying? Like I chose to go to an HBCU for a reason. And so now it's more so. Of course, I knew that the world itself, of course, is diverse-ish. Depending on which way you want to look at it. But it was more so like, shit, I gotta go back to this, you know what I'm saying, to where me, who I am as an individual, the way God made me, ain't enough no more. And I just got that's my norm again. You know what I'm saying? Like that, it was more so that, like, shit, here we go. Whereas being at PV, where the majority of everybody looks like you, and that is something that we hold ourselves proudly, is that we are all in this together, you know what I'm saying, doing exceptional things because of being Black. Now, being Black is one of my biggest cons, you know what I'm saying? Like, who wants to deal with that? So I think I thought of it like that as well. Damn, I'm Black. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm always proud of my Blackness, but it's like, shit. Now I got to, I got to know, what's it saying? You got to know twice as much to get half of, child. Disgusting.